Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Good to see all of you here this afternoon. I'm going to cover some anxiety, fear, and doubt and go from anxiety to production. I'm going to grab something right here. I took a little pause as we come on today this afternoon. We're going to take a look at letting go of anxiety, fear, and doubt, and especially frustration. I mean, in today's world, frustration's at an all-time high. I mean, we as a society are at a boiling point. I'm going to speak for myself, and I know that a lot of people are also. There's a lot of frustration in the world right now. Matt Smith, Jennifer, loyal clients. Jennifer Doyle Brady, loyal client. Love to have you here today. Matt Smith, loyal client. Michael Watkins, another loyal client. Don McNamara, loyal client. I mean, it's just like the tattoos are here. So Scott Lucas, loyal client. Good to see you here today, Scott. Scott, you're a good man. Aaron Knight, good. So this is really the loyal client day. All of you that are on here today are loyal, top tier, long-term clients. Scott Lucas, I will never forget the coin you gave me. Don Sharp, loyal client, long-term client. So I'm gonna divert, regress, and relapse all in the same Facebook Live here this afternoon. So my assistant just got a ticket. A lot of fuckery going on in the world. Scott Huminski, I'll be calling you to schedule your coaching. Another long-term loyal client, 5-year coaching client. Dawn Sharp goes back many years to when she hired me in 2014. Justin Sane, good to have you here this afternoon. For anyone that is new today, Carrie Elizabeth, I saw you on here. Today is going to be a day of rant, address frustration, breathe, release, and let go. Carrie Elizabeth, good to see you this afternoon. Eugenie, so I'm sure you're aware of it. I mean, you are aware. So if you follow me and you've been my client before, you are down that rabbit hole. You have a relatively good, better than good, exceptional understanding of what is going on in the world. And so there's a lot of challenges. Let's use that word. There's a lot of challenges going on. Many of you saw what happened at the football game last night. And if you didn't notice, please notice this. When everyone was kneeling, there was one football player standing, and his number was, if you know that number, then you are good. Does anyone know the number of the football player standing and the football player injured? His number was 33, and the football player injured was 3. So if you know what that means, then you know what it means. So thank you for being here. So as an American business owner, we get a lot of bills like this. Let me just show you this one. We get a lot of bills like this. $2,400. Now, it doesn't matter how much money you achieve or how much money you make. We Americans that own businesses and jobs and Canadians, we get bills, and the bills are staggering. That was a $2,400 bill for insurance on my houses. I mean, I've never once collected on them. I have a $4,000 liability policy on my business. If I tally up what I pay in insurance a year, I mean, it's somewhere in the 5 figures a year. So I'm sure you are in the same place that I am. I'm from a little small town in southwest Iowa and northwest Missouri. I grew up in 2 towns right there in that corner, right below Omaha and above Kansas City. So I'm a small town boy who I didn't just make it big. I went out and became clean and sober at 31, hit rock bottom, ended up in a heroin alcohol clinic in a wheelchair, weighing 114 pounds. And 34 years later, I've ran successful businesses. Not the first 8 years. First 8 years was up the down staircase, barely making a living, accruing $100,000 worth of credit card debt. And 1997 was a breakthrough year for me. But the bills still come in. Now, I am free of all debt, and you can also be there, and you deserve to be free of debt with owning property and having assets. But the cost of living, we are being squeezed. We Canadians, we Americans, we Australians, we are absolutely being squeezed. Now, I don't know about you, but that pisses me off. So that's prostate. And that also, it's a lot of shit to contend with. Well, that can be the gut issues and irritable bowel syndrome and bladder issues and all the other situations that we manifest. And then civil liberties, well, you understand that, and food shortages and gas and interest rate, and it can absolutely compound. And we're taught to be positive and have a good positive mental attitude. Well, that's fucking great, but there's more to it than a positive mental attitude, because you're human and your body is going to relapse because you're human. And my assistant was pissed off because my phone system, I have an AT&T phone system, and it's down in Stockton, California, and they're not going to get to it till the 10th of January. So we're supposed to just be without a phone. Now I do have a cell phone, but that's a whole nother level of moving all my clients over. And so there's frustration can mount, and you can feel this situation of this frustration, this disappointment, rage, hate, resentment, and all the other situations in the anger field, and then factor trauma-based mind control, and all the other situations that's being laid on top of you. There's a cloak of anxiety laid on top of you. It takes a very unique woman and man who has the courage to be able to overcome this anxiety. It takes a very committed man and woman in a level of emotional sobriety to be able to withstand all of the fuckery that you have to contend and deal with in today's world. And if you look up and go, wow, it's not 2019 anymore. It's Novus Ordo, New World Order. I mean, that's what you want to understand. I mean, the whip is coming down, the coyote's at the door, the wolf's at the door. This isn't gloom and doom, this is reality. And it's important that you are honest with yourself about your feelings. If you stuff your feelings and don't address your anger, if you stuff your feelings and eat over them, if you stuff your feelings and drink a couple glasses of wine or have a little dose of sugar here and there, and you medicate yourself with a snack and a treat, and if you're not learning breathing techniques, if you're not learning letting go techniques, I mean, there's a lot of sobriety on this call today. Eugenie Rose is a top tier yoga instructor. Aaron Knight, incidentally, is both Canadians. Aaron Knight is a great breathing coach. Don McNamara is a top-tier therapist. Matthew Smith is a NLP practitioner. James McLeod, who just joined us, is a coach. James McLeod, I'm on a rant today, so pull in here, baby. This is breathe, release, bring your frustration, disappointment to my Facebook Live and let go of it. James McLeod and his wife are just absolutely top-tier success and relation coaches, multiple six-figure income earners. I mean, there's a lot of talent on this Clubhouse or this Facebook Live today. James Pryor, Kira Fairchild is a world-class painter. Jeff Cronenberg, I've known for years. You all have talent. You followed me. You followed your own insight and wisdom. Been in the game a long time. But there's a lot to contend with in today's world that we have never had to contend with before. And so what I was just showing James here is like, look at these bills that come in every day, $2,400. What the fuck is that even for? That's insurance. There's no explanation. Did the policy go up? Did the policy go down? Actually, it went up $700 in the last year. Now, $700 broken down over a year, that's like $2 a day. This isn't going to make or break me. But still, this compounds up, and there's a lot that we have to contend with as Americans. Then if you have children, or if you're homeschooling your children, if you have children in public school, and then you have them in private school, and then you have all the other situations you have to pay for. I mean, it's important that you be your best self. If you're an employee, you want to be asking for a raise if you deserve it. You want to be making sure that you're getting paid what the market will bear. If you're a business owner, this is not the year to coast. This is the year to next level it, to raise your level of consciousness. That term is called transcend. Dawn McNamara is an exceptional breather. Breathe, release, and letting go. She says, my insurance is the same, $1,500 increase on home and my rent. I mean, and just the insurance alone, if you own a business, I mean, just all the everything you have to cover is amazing. And James Pryor just let us know that he has 393 days of sobriety. So James, there's a lot of threes in there. There's 3, 1 3, 3 more threes. There's 4, 5 threes in there, James. That's a lot of threes. So congratulations, James. That is awesome. James, you're getting a lot of recognition and congratulations, and you deserve it. So if you're a business owner, if you're an employee, and you feel that wolf at the door, recognize it because it is there. Or if you feel that anxiety, you fear that doubt, feel it, take it in, breathe into it. So you've got Dawn just said her home taxes doubled to $7,500. When you're posting this, you're not whining. You are stating the facts. I mean, these are facts. These are facts of what is going on. So you're expected to just pay it and just suck it up. Well, we've been on the phone. My assistant and I have been on the phone with AT&T hours. That's HOURS hours. And we're just being shoveled off, just like we don't even matter. I've been a customer of theirs for 25 years, and they're just saying, like, so what? Big deal. We'll be out there in 10 days. Suck it up, Buttercup. I mean, that's the attitude that a lot of corporations give us. The big box companies, the big tech companies, well, you know who they are, you know what they do, and there's a time that we have to take a stand. I don't know what that looks like, but I know I'm going to be a part of it. I don't know where it's going to start, but I'm going to be joining on the front line. I don't know what it's going to require, but I know I have what's required. So I know that, you remember the movie Network, where Albert Finney sticks his head out the window and he goes, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore? Well, that's the boiling point that we are reaching in America, Canada, Australia, and wherever you were watching from. And in that energy, that frustration, disappointment, violation energy is where you breathe, release, and let go. You have to find that space, that sacred place in your body where you can breathe and release and let go. And then it's going to be your responsibility to create the results. When you get some ghost bill like this for $2,400 and you don't even know what that means, I mean, you don't even know what it is, you don't even know what it's for. I mean, you have an idea of what it's for, but it goes up $1,000 with no explanation. Then that's when you breathe, release, and out producing your problems is a great philosophy. But there's also a place where you have to breathe through your problems. You breathe through them, you release, and you let go. Becky, another long-term client, good to see you here this afternoon. So right here on step number 1 is chronic avoidance. Chronic avoidance is what a large percent of the population does. They avoid the inevitable. They wait till the last minute. They procrastinate, which is a form of procrastinare, means they wait till the last minute. Aaron said, one of my great strengths is sharing of the day's challenges and his productive solutions. And my assistant today told me that he let the man in blue know that we support men in blue. And he just said that the man in blue let him off today. My assistant got a ticket because he ran a stoplight. And Henry said, the reason I ran the stoplight is because I'm so pissed off and frustrated with what I've been encountering. The man in blue gave him a break and let him go. That was definitely an omen. That was definitely a sign. And don't ever overlook the universe rewarding you. Cassiopeia Turcotte has joined us. Cassie is an exceptional woman. Cassie, honored to be your coach and friend for 5 years. She wrote a great post yesterday. That's Cassiopeia Turcotte. She wrote a great post yesterday and included my name in it. Thank you. Deep, deep appreciation. Kira, thank you for that. Why do we procrastinate? We procrastinate to create a neurochemical bond. We create this last minute neurochemical high, the adrenaline, cortisol that we create. And we create that to fulfill this craving of pulling it off. It's the way we sneak around. We sneak around and sneak that bill in at the last minute. We make that payment at the very last minute. And we extend the taxes to the very last time. And we continue to hold on to the same set of feelings, creating a similar outcome to fulfill that neurochemical craving. It's the cardio cocktail of adrenaline, cortisol. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of people operate. I just coached a husband and wife last night and tonight, and they lived in a lot of drama and a lot of chaos. And in the last 8 months that I've been coaching them, there's been noticeable difference in letting go of the stuff in their house, their yard, noticeable difference in organizing the finances where they now know what the debt is, and the dish is no longer set in the sink for 3 or 4 days, and they no longer wait till the last dish or the last piece of clothing. The reason that people do that, it's not so much that they're lazy, is that there's an avoidance situation that happens that people create a payoff from it. And the payoff is pulling it off, sneaking. They sneak through the situation. They pull it off at the last minute. And it creates this neurochemical high. Oh my God, they just barely make it. And then they're calling and making excuses and apologies to people. And it becomes a major component of that whole fight or flight mechanism that so much of the world and society lives in. Jennifer says, no more procrastinating for me. Thanks to your coaching. I'm taking the bull by the horns. Thank you very much. So point number 3 right here on my syllabus is the cause and the effect. Cause and effect. So if you're a procrastinator and you're avoiding, well, that's an effect, not a cause. I asked someone last night, I go, what's the cause of this? And she would say, anxiety. I go, no, that's an effect. She goes, overwhelmed. And I go, that's an emotion. What are the events that shape the feelings? If you don't understand what the cause is, you will recreate the same situation. It means the body reacts to stimulus and recreates the same situation over and over. In letting go, and that's what letting go is, there's an interruption. There's an interruption in the pattern of emotions that come together and wire to fire. Now that requires a committed person in emotional sobriety who is committed to letting go of the feelings that create that payoff and that outcome. It's very challenging for most of the world to understand that they do something to receive a payoff. And people will say to me, well, that's not even positive. Well, it's not about being positive. And, well, that's stupid. It's not stupid. Well, that doesn't make sense. It's not about making sense. It's understanding why you attract people that you rescue, enable, over-obligate yourself. It's important you understand why you attract people who violate you, take advantage of you, and then hang you out to dry. It's important you understand how you feel disappointed and frustrated as a byproduct of these feelings that you hold on to. When you're able to accept the feelings, accept where you are, begin the unpacking process, understand that letting go is the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them. It's virtually letting go of control, attempting to control an outcome that hasn't happened, not worrying about the future. It's very common for someone to be violated and then make excuses up for their perpetrator. It's very common to be traumatized by someone and then make lies up about that person who traumatized you. It's very common to be taken advantage of and then tell yourself that you don't want to confront that person because the pleasure wouldn't be worth the pain. And so that's what many people do, is they live in this procrastination and avoidance, and then the frustration builds up, and then the ego requires sugar, a piece of cake, a treat, a snack, a shot, an ounce, a dose, a pill, a shot of adrenaline, a shot of heroin, a shot of whatever it is that shot is, to fulfill the neurochemical craving that has most of the world emotionally addicted to the same set of feelings. And the more that you understand that this is a cause and an effect situation, here's the effect, but over here's the cause. And as you begin to address this cause, the events that shape those feelings, as you practice forgiveness, letting go, as you practice acceptance, awareness. I was coaching one of my clients today and assisting him to move beyond the that makes sense routine and move into the I understand. The whole context of understanding is completely different when you do understand. But when you continue to live in that makes sense, when you understand, when you know, when you're aware, then you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. Cassie says, I'm so done with that. Tracy says, so nice to gain understanding with your coaching. Thank you, Tracy. And Kira says, letting go. I like to overmother because was not mothered. That's completely understandable. I have been there before. Danielle Sawyer, so good to see you this afternoon. Danielle was a long-term coaching client of mine. Good to see you here this afternoon. Danielle, honored to be your coach and friend. The healing process is step number 4 on my syllabus. So right here it is. Step number 4 is the healing process. So the healing process is when an enlightened soul in recovery moves into a state of consciousness. And in that healing process, the pleasure becomes not worth the pain anymore. So relapsing becomes a much more infrequent occurrence because the neurochemical craving and the payoff doesn't seem as important. And in that state of recovery, then you will tend to rescue people less, get in the ring less often, spend less time being overwhelmed. Bob says no longer a chronic center. I will be debt-free in 4 years, 88 months. Thank you, chronic debtor. Bob says no longer a chronic debtor. I will be debt-free in 4 years, 8 months. So that means he has a plan, and he will stick to that plan. And he means that relapsing isn't an option. I assisted Bob to come to that situation where the honesty becomes a commitment and the overwhelmed state of denial is no longer worth the payoff. The pleasure is not worth the pain. James said, letting go of thinking I'm responsible for other people's feelings. James, that is a game-changing content right there. So that's what many people do, is they hold on to a story about someone else's feelings. And then many people will take the bullet for the family. They'll take the bullet for the loved one, or they'll take the bullet for the perpetrator violator and continue to tell themselves a story which is a lie about the outcome that hasn't happened. And when you move into that rigorous honesty, you unequivocally are letting go. Step 5 in this healing process is really mastering the application of letting go. So if you're posting that you have 393 days, or you're posting you're going to be free of debt in 4 years and 8 months, well, then you're in that process. You're in that healing process. You're in that space of recovery that only the law of the few ever actually arrive in. Very few people have the emotional courage to address the events that shape their feelings. They continue to live in a lie and protect their perpetrators and violators, or lie to themselves about their own responsibilities and then stay in the denial of it and expect to have miracles happen. Well, miracles can happen, especially when you're in alignment with it. If you want the universe to reward you, reward yourself with the gift of honesty, because honesty is the gateway to truth. And once you move into honesty, you move into acceptance and begin to move into the let go process of forgiveness and gratitude. Now you're changing the energy and the frequency of the way you're transmuting your feelings. And when you're transmuting from love, joy, acceptance, understanding, awareness, and knowing, you're in a different state of communication between your body and the world. And in that's where you change who and what you attract. Because now you're moving into a state of consciousness called the quantum field, where all is possible. When you live in anxiety, fear, and doubt and denial, very little is possible, except that you're going to recreate the same situation to fulfill the same feeling, to create the same payoff. And that's why a victim does what a victim does. An addict does what an addict does, and they recreate the same situation to fulfill those feelings. And then step number 6 today is focus on the results. It means that you're living in the solution. And that means that the prefrontal cortex of your brain is solution conscious. It means your direction and your gravitational pull is you're being guided by your own light. You're out of your own darkness. You're being guided at your own light to live in the solution and not the problem. You're focused on results and production rather than criticism and gossip. You're focused on who you can be, not what the government's doing to you. And when you get one of these bills, you pay it. And you may not have the money in the bank right now, but you figure out a solution so you're not late. Because if you're late on that bill, how many other bills are you late on? If you're lying to this bill collector, how many other bill collectors are you lying to? If you're gonna do anything to a bill collector, you tell them the truth, and then you follow through on what you can commit to, and that's when sobriety happens. And when you live in that truth, then there is absolutely nothing for you to worry about. Because when you're in truth, you know the whole playing field. When you're in denial, it keeps you in the state of wonderment. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what's going to happen. And when you see the number 33, you know what's happening. You know that that's a psyop. You understand like this, that this is trickery, and you understand this, and forgery, and you understand this, and you know that your truth is stronger than that falsehood. And that's when you and your God can create a difference. in yourself and other people's lives, but you will not be able to do that by living in anxiety, fear, and doubt, and denial. So denial is the fourfecta. So anxiety, fear, and doubt is the trifecta, but denial is the fourfecta. Once you address denial, and then you can let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt, and the regret of the past and the anxiety about the future, then you are no longer that mind-body connection. You're not that violated child. You're not that sexually abused man or woman. You're not a chronic debtor. You're not the person who's not lovable anymore. You are good enough. You are lovable. You are capable. And you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shapes anxiety, fear, doubt, and denial. If you would like to get a hold of me this year to find out more about my coaching services or to access a free 20-minute coaching conference, go ahead and send me a message on Facebook. Charles, good to see you this afternoon. Pamela, as always, thank you for being here and giving me great feedback. Don Sharp, honored to have been your coach and friend for so many years. Drew Sartorius, thank you for being my coaching client. Thank all of you. Gratitude, 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 acceptance, acceptance, acceptance. I will be back here on Facebook Live tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific. Have a great afternoon. Turn on the manifest button. If you have a bill today or you have a challenge financially, hit the manifestation button. Be solution oriented and the universe will reward you. Have a great afternoon, everyone.